under learning. Now we defined what learning is. Now learning is the ability of an animal to modify or make changes to its basic behavioral patterns as a result of personal experience, right? The ability of an animal to modify its basic behavioral patterns as a result of personal experience. So I told you that learning is adaptive because it helps the animal to survive and reproduce, and also to pass its genes to the next generation. That's why, therefore, learning is said to be adaptive. Now, even we see various learning activities in our lives also. Not only us, animals also learn by experience. So I explained to you that there are 5 major types of learning: imprinting, habituation, associated learning, trial and error learning, and finally the insight learning. Okay. Now we discussed in detail about the imprinting and habituation in our lecture yesterday. We also watched some videos, short video clips. Of course, I shared all those video clips in the Cal. Please download those videos from your end, right? So that you can watch them when you are free. And those videos were sent in order to reinforce the facts given in this lecture, right? So we knew what is meant by imprinting. So imprinting is a kind of learning that occurs during a very sensitive age of an animal. Usually their sensitive age is during its formative years, when they are young actually, right? And this sensitive period varies from animal to animal. Okay, so we learned imprinting by the observations made by one of the greatest ethologists in human history, Konrad Lorenz, right? And we also learned about the basic characteristics of imprinting. Okay. Now, after that, we learned about habituation. Habituation is a kind of learning where animal stops to respond, learns not to respond to a particular stimulus, that is to a harmless stimulus that is repeated again and again. Okay, that is habituation. I gave you examples, and I also gave you a video as well. Of course, if I remember correct, there are 2 videos. And then today in this lecture, I'm going to tell you about associated learning. Associated learning, right? So while I was reading this lecture note again, I made kind of a modification into the first point here, and it is already written. Can you see this, the handwritten part of the slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you all please? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. We can see.
Okay, right. Now, associated learning, it is also called classical conditioning. Classical conditioning. Now, this was suggested by a Russian scientist by the name Ivan Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov in early 1900s, right? That's about 122 years ago, right? He is no more, right? So what he actually did was, I will describe that experiment in a little while, but before that, let me tell you what associated learning is. Now, associated learning is a kind of learning to make a karunakara logolu liyaganna puluwanda, please. Associated learning is a form of learning to make a reflexive conditioned response to a neutral stimulus by associating it to an unconditioned response. Make it ටිකක් බරපතල වාක්‍යයක් වගේ තමයි පේන්නේ, but don't worry, it's not that hard. හරි? දැන් මේක සරලවම කිව්වොත් දැන් අපි දන්නවනේ සත්තු උත්තේජ වලට ප්‍රතිචාර දක්වනවා කියලා. We all know about that, no? Animals respond to various stimuli. Now, for example, if someone touches you, then you will immediately turn your head, and then we'll see who that person, who the person touched you. So that is your response. So the stimulus is touching the body, right? So animals, likewise, animals respond to all the responses. But there are some instances where we do not respond because that particular stimulus will not stimulate us. Hari yam uttejayකින් යම් උත්තේජයකට අපිව උත්තේජනීය වුණේ නැත්තම් අපි ප්‍රතිචාර දක්වන්නේ නැහැ. හරි අපි ඔහෙ ඉන්නවා. හරි දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදියට බෙල් එකක් ගැහුවොත් එම සීනුවක් ශබ්ද කරනකොට හරි සීනුවක් ශබ්ද කරනකොට අපිට නිකන් කටට කෙලවුණන්නේ නැහනේ. මොකද සීනුව හින්දා අපිට ඒකෙන් අපි උත්තේජනය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔක බල්ලෙකුට ඉස්සරහා සීනුව වැනුවත් උකට කට කෙලවුණන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? හැබැයි මේ සීනුව වනනකොටම අපි සීනුව වනලා මොහොතකට පස්සේ ඉස්සරහින් මස් කෑල්ලක් තිබ්බොත් හරිද? අපිට පොඩි අදහසක් වෙනවා සීනුව වැනීමත් එක්කලා මස් කෑල්ලක් ලැබෙනවා කියලා. Now if we repeat this, ringing the bell and offering a piece of meat again and again, for quite some times, then we learn that the piece of meat will be given immediately after the ringing sound of the bell. We learn that. Then what happens next is that even without giving the piece of meat, if a person rings the bell, then we stimulate to that because we learn immediately, we have learned that immediately after the ringing of the bell will be offered a piece of meat. We've learned that. This is what we call the associated learning or conditioned, classical learning, classical condition. Right? Two words, right? Associated learning or classical condition. Now, as I said earlier, this was first proposed by Ivan Pavlov. So, you see, now associated learning, I have given the new revised definition in here. It's a form of learning to make a reflexive conditioned response to a neutral stimulus. Neutral stimulus, then in this case, in our example, the ringing sound of the bell. It is neutral because it did not stimulate us, right? So what we do is that we associate condition stimulus. Sorry, please. Associated learning is a form of learning to make a reflexive conditioned response to a neutral stimulus by associating it to an unconditioned stimulus. ඒකන්නේ ප්‍රතිචාරයක් දැක්විය හැකි උත්තේජයකට ප්‍රතිචාරයක් නොදක්වන උත්තේජයක් නෑ ප්‍රතිචාරයක් නොදක්වන උත්තේජයකට ප්‍රතිචාරයක් දක්වන උත්තේජයක් ඇසුරෙන් ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්වීමට ඉගෙන ගැනීම. අන්න හරි. ඒක තමයි හරිම සිංහල වචනෙන් ගත්තොත් එහෙම. ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්වී ප්‍රතිචාර නොදක්වන උත්තේජයකට ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්විය හැකි උත්තේජයක් ඇසුරෙන් ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්වීමට ඉගෙන ගන්න. Right? Animals learn to respond to a neutral stimulus by associating this neutral stimulus to an unconditioned stimulus. ප්‍රතිචාර නොදක්වන උත්තේජයකට ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්විය හැකි උත්තේජයක් ඇසුරෙන් ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්වීමට ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. This is what you call associated learning. හරිද මේක තේරුණාද? Did you understand this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, now Pavlov demonstrated this particular idea using a very elegant experiment. It's a very simple one. It's a very simple one, but he showed it this way. Please write this definition before I move into the next slide. Associated learning is a form of learning to make a reflexive conditioned response to a neutral stimulus by associating it to an unconditioned stimulus. You have, I hope that you have finished writing it, right? Associated learning is a form of learning to make a reflexive conditioned response to a neutral stimulus by associating it to an unconditioned response. Unconditioned stimulus. Okay, let me erase this. Right. Now, this is Pavlov's experiment. Look. Now, we have a very hungry dog. Okay. Now, in front of the door, a piece of meat is placed, but we make sure that the dog cannot get it because it is leashed. So the dog cannot get it. And we observe that the dog will begin to, salivate. Right? The dog will begin to salivate. It needs to eat it, but it cannot get it. So since it is greedy to eat it, kind of salivation, can be observed. So here, unconditioned response. Unconditioned means it's a natural response. The natural response is shown by the dog to a natural stimulus. Unconditioned stimulus. Now, what we do next is that again the dog is put on a leash, and in front of the dog, now we ring the bell. So the bell does not make any change in the dog's behavior. Therefore, the bell sound is a neutral stimulus, to which the dog does not show any response. Later, what we do is that again the dog is put in a leash, right? And then while placing the piece of meat in front of the dog, and then we start ringing the bell. We do it several times. So the dog learns when the bell rings, immediately after a piece of meat will be offered, so it salivates. And after that, the bell is now ringing, but there is no any meat, but still the dog, you see, it is salivating. So now the dog has learned to show an unconditioned response, right? The same unconditioned response to the neutral stimulus after it was associated with this unconditioned stimulus. තේරුණාද? උත්තේජයක් මේ හතරම තේරුණා. මේක උත්තේජයක් නොදැක් ප්‍රතිචාරයක් නොදැක්වූ උත්තේජයකට ප්‍රතිචාරයක් දැක්වූ උත්තේජයක් ඇසුරෙන් ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්වීමට ඉගෙන ගැනීම. හරි? ඕන්න ඔකට තමයි කියන්නේ classical conditioning. මේක අපෙත් තියෙනවා. Right? අපෙත් තියෙනවා. Now let me show you a video for classical conditioning or associated learning. Right? Now you can do this particular exercise at home also. Right? Okay, let me share the screen. Hang on a second, please. I have to upload this video. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you see? Do you see a black color slide with classical conditioning? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me play it for you. Do you hear the music?
No,
No?
no.
No, sir.
Oh no. What is the stop share? Okay. Now I am sharing another one. Do you see a man wearing a black tie?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now he is he is conditioning his brother to a particular stimulus. So that's why I told you, without telling about classical conditioning, you can practically test this at home as well. Okay, see what he is doing. Okay, now before I start this, now this boy is studying in his study room with his brother, right? Now this boy knows about conditioning, associated learning. So now he rings his mobile phone, and immediately after that he takes a piece of paper, rolls it and then make it as a ball, then throw at the brother, right? And then again after a few minutes he rings the telephone and then throw another ball, right? And he does this several times. So see what happens even without throwing the paper ball, how the brother responds.
What's up guys, I'm Andrew Daughters, and today I will be conducting Ivan Pavlov's experiment on classical conditioning. So today, I'm going to be conditioning my older brother James, and hopefully by the end of the experiment,
so he was going to condition his
an alert sound
brother
on my cell phone. In classical conditioning, the unconditioned stimulus causes the unconditioned response. Then a neutral stimulus is paired with the unconditioned stimulus. Then the neutral stimulus alone causes a response. Initially, I will use an alert sound from my phone as a neutral stimulus to get an unconditioned response. Then for the next few trials, I will use this unconditioned stimulus of the ball hitting my brother to get an unconditioned response. Next in the experiment, I will attempt to make the neutral stimulus of the alert sound from my phone to get the exact same reaction as the paper ball being thrown at my brother through classical conditioning. After each alert sound, I will throw one paper ball at my brother. Let's have a look. You want attention? You trying to get attention? Dude, I'm trying to get this done by midnight. I have like 20 minutes. Dude. Stop. Did you see that? It actually worked. The conditioned stimulus of the alert from my phone received the correct conditioned response of my brother flinching. Thanks, Ivan Pavlo.
All right then. Okay, let me share my note again to you. Okay. Did you watch it?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me. Okay. Now there are two brothers, no? Okay, we have two brothers. So one brother knows about this classical conditioning, but the other person, the brother who is working in the computer does not know about anything about this. Neither. So so this boy, rings the phone, and then immediately after that throws a paper ball, to which the brother responded. But finally what happened was that even without throwing the paper ball, the brother responded to the ringing sound of the phone. Yes. Now tell me, which one is the stimulus, the unconditioned stimulus?
The unconditioned stimulus is throwing the ball.
Yes, the paper ball, throwing the paper ball. Excellent. What is the neutral stimulus?
Phone ring.
Phone ringing. Yes. Phone ringing is the neutral stimulus. Good. Then what you saw was that immediately after the phone rang, he threw the ball. Yes. Then he did it several times. And then you noticed the brother responded to the ring sound of the phone. So what has happened? Has the brother conditioned to the neutral stimulus or not?
He has been conditioned.
Yes, yes. The brother has conditioned to the to the phone sound. Then you also can do a similar kind of exercise at home, perhaps to your father or to your mother or to your brother or sister, and then can observe the classical or associated learning, classical conditioning or associated learning. So this happens in us as well. This happens in us as well. So let me show you another video. Okay, now there is a mother and a daughter. Now in this video clip, right? Now the mother conditions the daughter to a particular stimulus. Okay, watch this again carefully.
Yeah, remember you saw like Facebook, you moved into a storm, you was there for a week.
No, I did not see that.
Okay. Putih phone itu kan ini. Okay. Let me share my lecture note. So now, any question about associated learning? Did you all understand how it happens? Hello students, did you all understand how it happens, the associated learning?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So you can do it at home as well, right? You can do it. Then the next type of learning is trial and error learning. Trial and error learning. Okay, now trial and error learning is a kind of learning to perform a behavior, to receive a reward, or to avoid punishment. Right? Now, this is a very common kind of learning in humans and higher animals, right? දැන් අපි මේ reward එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මේ tag එකක් නෙමෙයි යම්කිසි අගැයීමක් වගේ කියන එක. That's how what it is meant by this word, reward, right? Animals learn to perform a behavior to receive a reward or to avoid a punishment. Right now, this was suggested by a scientist called Skinner. That was in 1938. He was an American scientist, right? So, then as an example in the army. So, if you make a kind of an error, something wrong, you'll be punished. Then you learn not to do it. Another example, if you lie, then most probably your parents hit you. Then you learn not to lie to avoid getting a hit. Right? The other thing is that if you do very well in the exams, then you will be praised. Now, that praise is the reward. The positive reinforcement. So you learn to do well in the future exams as well, to be praised again and again. And this is what you call trial and error learning, also called operant or instrumental conditioning. Right? Now there are some video clips. I will show them to you, but let me explain to you about a very serious experiment conducted by Skinner in 1938, and that experiment is performed with some rat. Right now, what happens is that now listen carefully. A rat is placed inside a cage. Okay. A rat is placed inside the cage. Now there is an electric grid, and this electric grid, electricity passes through this electric grid only if the red button is pushed. Okay, and then there is a kind of a lever. If this lever is pressed, then a food pellet will come into the cage, so the rat can eat it. Now, this food pellet is the reward we can consider. It's a positive reinforcement. Now, if somehow this red button is pushed, it will get an electric shock. That's the punishment, right? The rat does not know anything about these things. So what we did was that after setting up this cage, now this is what you call the Skinner's cage. Since the rat does not know anything about these buttons and levers, etc., he runs here and there in order to get out from this cage. So while the rat is running here and there, accidentally, it is possible that he, pull the lever, pull it down. So immediately it is pulled down, a food pellet is, delivered into the cage. So then okay, just forget about it. And then he again, runs here and there because he needs to, escape from this cage, no, go out, no. So again, he runs here and there, and then again, accidentally, this time, press the red button. So immediately an electric current passes through the grid, the electrified grid, and the rat would get an electric shock. So this thing happens again and again, again and again. So while the rat is, running here and there, if accidentally pulls the response lever, then he learns there will be a reward. Then if the red button is pressed, then the rat learns it will get an electric shock. So the rat learns later not to touch this red button. Also, the rat learns to pull the lever again and again to get a reward. So, a behavior performed by an animal to receive a reward or to avoid a punishment is what you call the trial and error learning. Now this is again highly developed in higher mammals, including humans, right? So this is what it is indicated in this description here. A hungry rat was placed in a box. Outside there is rat food here in this place. The rat will move here and there inside the box to go out and get the food. But if by an accident the lever is pulled down, immediately a food pellet would drop into the container. That's the reward, the positive enforcement. After a few trials, the rat quickly learns to go straight to the lever, pull it down to get the food. Every time the number of trials being decreased, right? Eventually, the rat quickly learns that Eventually, the rat quickly learns that the food can be obtained only if the lever is pulled down. Now, the next one, this is what it is done. Now, while moving here and there inside the books, if by an accident, red light button is pressed, an electric circuit switches on, and the rat would get an electric shock. That is the punishment, negative reinforcement. That's how we call it, right? And after a few trials, the rat quickly learned not to press the red button again and again to avoid any electric shock. Now, this is trial and error learning. Right? So, this trial and error learning, this is the kind of learning that we do in schools, right? So, now I believe you will, did you check your results for Bio course 11552, Evolutionary Biology and Biogeography? Did you all tell me yes or no? Hello, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. You checked it. So, some of you, I'm sure, I don't really know the numbers, but some of you got good grades. Like I said yesterday, some other students did not get good grades, less than 40. That means E, C minus or D, right? So that is perhaps the kind of learning to be you, a trial and error learning, right? So, the reason why I told you, if you want this to happen in the future course units as well, if you don't want this to happen, then you will have to work hard, right? So if you do it again and again, that's the punishment you will get. So this is trial and error learning. Again, an example. This is trial and error learning. Another example. Right? Now, I also praised yesterday the good students who got A grades. As a teacher, I must do that, right? So those students, in order to get the positive reinforcement again and again in the future courses as well, I am sure they learned that they should work hard in the exams. Pretty simple. Harini, so that's why before I started explaining the trial and error learning. That's the reason why I told that this is highly developed in humans, right? Okay, let me show you a video clip on trial and error. Now this is what is happening. Oh, come on. So what's the purpose of green light button? With that mouse example. Well, nothing happens because there must be something for that. No? Okay, you can check that the purpose of the green light button in. Oh, wait a minute. Trial and error learning. What is happening? Come on. My computer does not respond. Oh no. What's wrong? Anyway, now you know about this. Therefore, please let us stop wasting our time. Now, this trial and error learning is again used in zoos while training animals. Now you see here this is a trainer, the seal trainer, right? Now, do you have any idea about animal training? Well, animal training now, I'm sure that in your homes there are dogs and as well as cats, right? Now, if the dog, we usually play with the dog. No? Even I myself do that. I have 2 dogs, right? So one Alsatian and the other one Labrador. So extremely playful dogs, right? The Labrador one, she, right? The Labrador is a girl. So she is 2 years old now. She likes playing with the ball. Now, every time I go out, she brings the ball, hoping that I would throw the ball. But there are some instances where I am working, but still the dog comes to me with the ball, with imploring eyes. So when I am busy, really, what I do is that I hold the finger like this and then threaten her. Then she has learned to go away with that ball and she does not come. She comes again only if I make, little easy click sounds. When I do that, she comes. When I hold the finger like this, she doesn't come to play. This is the kind of punishment, the negative reinforcement. That sound is the positive reinforcement. Now, in animal zoos, now training an animal is not that hard really. If you know the correct technique, well, you have to be very patient, right? Now, in this example, the wild seal is put in a big tank. So the trainer very carefully watches its behavior, right? And then there are bowls, etc., just thrown into the bowl like this, thrown into the pond, and then the seal swims around. I mean, accidentally, it holds the bowl. Accidentally, it happens. Then immediately, now this the trainer is watching, so immediately she gives a a fish or something, right? that the dolphin needs. Do you see something appearing on the screen? Most visited.
Yes, sir. The black box like.
Something wrong with the computer today. The computer does not respond even. Anyway, let me finish. Stop telling what I told. Immediately after the seal performs something good, then the animal will be given a fish. Right? මාළු කන්න හරි කැමති. හැබැයි ඒ වගේම මේ ඔය විදිහට নানা ප්‍රකාර කියන්නේ ඇනිමල් ෂෝ එකට උමනා කරන මොනවා හරි බිහේවියර් එකක් කරනකොට කරපු ගමන් මෙයාට දෙනවා මේ reward එක තමයි මාළුවෙක් ඇත්තට. Now I am sure if you have watched an animal show, perhaps in the zoological garden, a seal show, then immediately after the seal performs an activity, a fish is offered. Have you seen that? That's the positive reinforcement. So this trial and error learning is widely used in animal training programs. Okay, if I begin to show my videos, then it's going to be a kind of a problem. So let me continue with this presentation. So the final type of learning is what you call the insight learning. Insight learning, right? So insight learning is actually a form of learning this is highly developed in humans, almost all the primates, particularly in the humans. So what we do is that we don't need anything. What we do is that we just think, right? Then associate so many things that we have learned in the past, during in the past, and then we combine all these things to perform a new behavior, right? So all of a sudden, new behavior can be shown. And that is what you call the insight learning. So insight learning is a type of learning of problem solving that happens all of a sudden through understanding the relationships of various parts of a problem and what an animal already knows, rather than through trial and error, right? So this was proposed by a German scientist by the name Wolfgang Kohler, right? Now he placed a trained in the sense a chimpanzee has been living with the people for many years now. Now the chimpanzee was put in a room, in a cage, and in the roof a bunch of banana, a comb of banana is hung. And initially the chimpanzee tries to get it, but you see that it cannot reach it because it hasn't got enough height. And there are empty boxes here and there, scattered here and there in the room. So what the chimpanzee does is that he collects, he thinks. And eventually it learns from the past experience that if the boxes are stacked on top of each other, it can get a particular height, right? It knows that. It knows it. It also knows that the banana is very tasty, right? So he combines all these ideas, right? And then eventually he gets the comb of banana. Right? So another experiment. There is a gate, and outside the gate there is something to eat. And now the chimpanzee is placed in this side. Other side of the gate there is something to eat, right? Now there are two, tubes, one bigger than the other, but if you put the smaller one into the bigger one, you can extend it. make it a little longer. So initially, what the chimpanzee does is that the chimpanzee has seen all these things, right? Because he was with humans for a long period of time now. So now he gets one piece and then tries to get the food, right? But no, it's not long enough. So he thinks about it for a while and then he joins these two and then reaches the food and then gets it. So this is insight learning, right? Insight learning. Now there are again several videos in the internet. Now let me give you a little exercise. Okay. Can you leave two complete? Now this is also related to insight learning. Can you leave two complete squares only by taking away two sticks from the pattern shown below? Can you join the 9 dots? There are 9 dots, right, with 4 straight lines without lifting your pen. Try it by yourself. If anyone can, please, I will. Something wrong with the computer today. Can you all do this? Can you respond, please, at least? Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All what you have to do, as far as the upper one is concerned, to remove two sticks, and then you have to make 2 complete squares, only 2. And using 4 straight lines, you will have to join those 9 dots. Try if you can. This is also insight learning. Okay, do it when you are free.